Heintz Boy Garage is the show to watch. If you don't like me, you can suck.
Well, hello! That first video back was a success. So now, we're gonna keep them going. So today, we are going to be taking this not strut brace, but harness brace, that's what it is, out so that I can start measuring for a cage. I already took the seat out, which is where you are right now. So, let's get this puppy out and start to do some measuring. Okay, so now that I have taken the seats out, I ripped the headliner out. I mean, not ripped, if you can see this, there is this foam crap. I had to chisel at it for like 20 minutes to get it to come off. But, as the Fabricator series shows you how he builds his cages, I am going to follow those same lines, the same guidelines that he does. So what he does when he bends his main hoops, when he bends his side hoops, everything, he starts from the middle of his tube. He uses 12-foot tubes, which is what I got, and he marks the center line and bends outwards and then cuts the ends off where he needs them. So, lucky for me, I have these two holes right here, which pretty much show me where my center line is going to be. And I'll measure it just to make sure. .21.5 on both sides. So now, I will measure where I want the cage to go. There's kind of a little swoop here in the roof. I think I'll follow that and then take off 1/2 of an inch to account for a little space away from the cab so I have room to weld around it and stuff. Well, today's day is cut short. I was bending a cheater tube that you use as like a point of reference to see where you want your bends. And I was bending it, and the anchors for the tubing bender ripped out of the ground and put me on my ass. So, gonna have to fix that, and until then, I don't know, we might have to find something else to do. But we'll see, because I'll be back tomorrow. Peace. Good morning! It is a better day today than yester. So, I'm measuring up some roll cage stuff following the Fabricator series guidelines. And I will post in the description the video that I watched to get where I have. So, I kind of was just measuring all this out while a guy was test driving my Ranger. The Ranger is gone. I'm hoping to pick up a new mini truck this weekend. And if it happens, it's going to be badass. If it doesn't, it's going to be sad ass. So, I got a couple more measurements to make, and I got my little cheater pipe. So, let me get to this. So, I went to go bend my main hoop. I was going to give it attempt number 1, and there's not enough room to do that here. I can probably bend every other tube of this roll cage except for the main hoop because it's so long, a long 12-foot continuous piece. Trying to bend that in half, and you know, it takes up a lot of room. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But until then, I'll just have to find something else to do. So, we will see you tomorrow. Hello! Welcome back. It is Thursday. Or Wednesday. It's one of those days. Either way, it's a good one. And we are here at the HBG. And I am still trying to wrap my brain around what I'm going to do to convert these hubs to 5-lug without using my factory ones because everything is wrong about them. So, I was looking into doing Mustang 2 spindles like on my dad's truck in the back there. But it's kind of a lot of money to get big brakes, and it's just everything is kind of a little bit off about them. So I was looking into other cars before that. I was looking into Miatas. It's not easy to 5-lug swap Miatas, but they do have short long arm suspension, and they've got the bolt-on wheel bearing with the hub itself, which is what I want. I also looked at 300ZXs. I looked at basically any drift car that I could think of, except for one, which one of you guys suggested, Justin Wright. That was awesome. He said, why not use MK3 Supra spindles? I was like, holy fuck, I totally forgot about that car, because we don't really have that many around here. So I looked it up. Sure enough, it's exactly what I'm looking for. They have conversion kits to 13-inch Cobra rotors, 0304 Cobra rotors, and that's awesome. And then I'll probably use CTSV calipers with those because they're cheap and they're big. So my next concern is control arm angle, which with the Supra hub, let me switch the camera here. So you can see it here, my ball joint on the bottom goes down, and my top one also goes down. And a Supra goes up on the bottom and down on the top, which is good because it's essentially like doing a ball joint flip, and it will lower my control arm farther. So this control arm will be good, but the upper one will be the same. And if you can see that, it is at a very, very, very poor angle. Here's mounting point number 1, and here's mounting point number 2. So I'm gonna have to raise this or something, figure that out. So I suppose that does it for the day. I don't really have anything else to do here. So I'm gonna go try to pick up those Toyota Supra spindles, maybe make some measurements, and maybe order some parts and see what comes of it. Hey! Hello! It's Saturday now. I really still haven't got much done this week. I think we're gonna drill some holes right here in the garage for the tubing bender so I can bend my main hoop, and then we can go from there, because that's my biggest roadblock right now, is not having enough room to bend the main hoop. We also got this ballin' ass monopod, so now I don't have to mess with that tripod every time I want to adjust it. And I forgot to put a little clip in here on the last video, but here's my new Grip Royal fancy guy. Nice smooth suede, cool little center cap button here. I've also got some manifold bolts, some header bolts that are nice and won't break off, and they also have a smaller head, because those that are on there are just the grade 8 bolts that have a giant head and they're impossible to get off with a wrench. I also got a fuel pump block off plate for a manual fuel pump, mechanical fuel pump. And I'm going to put this on because we're going to have an electric fuel pump. This is probably one of my favorite tool sets that I got while I was in college. I went to college for auto mechanics. Graduated with a 2-year degree. And I don't want to be a mechanic, so here we are with a bunch of tools, and that makes my life easy. Sweet. Screen come off and open the window. The main hoop is done. I still need to build the rocker boxes for it. The little boxes that the cage will go on, so I can move those out, drop the cage down, weld around the top, and then put it back up on those perches and weld them to those. But I don't have the right metal to build those out of. I'm kind of going by Formula D rules, and it has to be 0.08 inches thick minimum. And I have 0.055 and 0.265, so those are both not going to work. So I need to get some of that, and I can build those, and we'll continue with this. But for now, I am done, and I will show you this main hoop, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yo, what up? So, today I am going to tear apart the front end to kind of mock up my super knuckles that a guy on here suggested I get super knuckles, and I did, and I got brakes on the way, big old fat ones, big old fat calipers, gonna be tits. So let's start tearing this apart. So I'm also going to take the headers off because I want to see if they fit backwards for the turbo. So they'll go front to the front of the truck, and then they'll have a crossover tube where the drivers will meet the passengers, go up to the turbo, turbo's there, exhaust goes back, boom. Alright, so after doing this, I'm not really sure what I should do with my steering column here because the exhaust is in the way. Don't mind this. This is just brake fluid that leaked and peeled off all my paint. But with this header where it's supposed to be kind of there-ish, I think it hits the oil filter, so I can't get it on all the way. This is kind of a problem. But I do have a steering rack. You cannot see it. It's down here. The shaft is about here, so it's not horribly off, but I'm kind of worried about the excessive angles of these joints. So that's all I got for today. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do here. I've got the Supra spindle kind of mocked up with the wheel on it. The control arms are definitely going to have to be extended like 6 inches on the bottom one, and I'd like to just make new ones because if I get another Mazda, I want to use these DJM lowering control arms on it. So I'm just going to have to do a little bit more researching on the steering column and a little bit more thinking and a little bit more brainstorming on the control arms to see what I want to do there, see how I want to build them. But I got parts on the way for the brakes and stuff, so they will be an assembled unit and we can at least get something started. And also the steel is on the way for the rocker boxes on the roll cage. So I will probably do that first if that gets here before I do anything up here. But that's it for today. See you tomorrow. Peace!